AI audio. This section is obviously crucial. If you were to skip everything else, that's the scripting, mood boards, everything like that, you need at least 3 elements here to make AI video. That is audio. You need audio, music, or voiceover in your video, as well as images to create video. They're the 3 main sections, and this is the first one of those. So in this section, it's broken down into kind of 2 halves. The first half, we're going to go over music generation. So you can imagine if you need a score or some background music or something, we could generate this with AI. Or perhaps you want to have a song that has lyrics to it, a specific topic or something funny maybe, perhaps. I'm going to show you how to do that. And that will dictate everything that you need for obviously your visuals, etc., if that were the case. And in the second half of this little section, we're going to talk about voiceovers or narration, getting dialogue, be it a voiceover, a narrator speaking over your video, or perhaps you need actual dialogue said by one of your characters in your video. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, obviously, AI audio is changing everything. No longer do I need to go away and have paid stock footage or music rights to something. There's quickly becoming a thing of the past. I could generate music just like this.
Got my boots, got my hat, oh yeah. Riding in my pickup flat, cowboy swagger, that's a fact.
Absolutely for free, and it's copyright. AI has allowed me to do that. I don't need to pay for that music anymore. And also, I'm even in a place where I don't need to speak like this. I could clone and generate my voice to say something to you like this.
Hi, Dan here, AI Dan. This is me speaking to you through ElevenLabs. This is great. I never need to actually speak again.
That whole thing was done by cloning my own voice. No longer doing to sit here with a microphone and do a voiceover if I don't want to. It's changing everything, and I'm going to show you in this section. Now, the main tools that we're going to be using here are ElevenLabs. ElevenLabs currently at the time of recording, and if it changes, I'll update this, is by far, I think, the market leader with regards doing text to speech, speech to speech, that's changing the speech, cloning, etc. So I'm going to show you that. There's also Suno, Udio, which are going to be used primarily for making soundtracks, scores, as well as I'm going to show you a few tools with a tool called Filmora, which is actually an editing platform primarily, similar to CapCut or something. I'm going to show you Filmora for some great AI tools with audio, and a handful of others in this section. Now, this is not to be confused with, at the end of this course, we're going to do sound effects. We're going to AI generate, for example, if I smashed a bottle against this table, then I could use AI tools like ElevenLabs actually to generate that sound. I don't need to go away and find that or record it myself. That's done after in post-production. This stuff is done first for AI video, and I'll explain the process in the next lecture. So let's begin, let's go over, I'll explain to you the process and why we need to do this first, and then let's get creative. So some of you might be asking, why are we doing audio right now? Why is it important to do that first, as the first creative stage, if you like? If you ignore script writing, if you mean an actual creating, we are creating something, either audio or visual. This is that first point. And the reason we do that first is for several reasons. So don't skip ahead thinking I can do this later, because you'll probably want this right now. I'll explain. Yes, in traditional TV and movie, audio would normally be in post-production. It would be the thing you add at the end. When you're trying to create an emotion behind something, you perhaps would get music underneath it. If you need a narrator, a voiceover, yes, you do that after so it fits your scene. Primarily, it's done in post-production. But as far as audio goes for AI video, we do this first in a similar fashion to you'll find that actually animation studios do this first. When they're creating things for Pixar or Disney, for example, they do the voiceovers with the celebrities or the voice artists, whoever it is. They do that first and they animate to the voice, and it's much the same way. Now, when we're creating our visuals here, we are obviously evoking an emotion or telling a story. Now, you need to get your dialogue first. If you're going to lip sync this, for example, you need to know what it is you're going to lip sync. If you're going to create a story with a beat, then you're going to need to know the music. So I've kind of got it down to 3 points here for the advantages of doing this first. If we generate music, and I'm going to show you a couple of tools in the next couple of lectures, create music first, it may dictate create our content. You create something that has a really slow intro you weren't thinking of and builds up. It may dictate that actually you start from black screen and fade on in. It may have a certain pulse behind it that then dictates the pace of your edit. If the music you generate has a pulse, in the intro, then you may have visual shot cut on each one of those beats. Now there's no point if we were to edit and make all our videos and then we add in our soundtrack, we go, oh, and we move it all around, then we may find we're actually short and need more content. But if we have our audio first and create to it with AI video, you can save yourself a lot of time and headache. So that's another huge advantage. And lastly, of course, voiceover will aid production. So if I was actually having a narrator and they say something like, I don't know, in a galaxy far, far away, we meet our protagonist, Luke. Now, if he says that, I might have my scene of a galaxy far, far away. And as he says the name Luke, I know to cut to that shot of Luke to match what he's saying. If I'm just creating these blind and then make the audio after, I'm going to have to edit my shots to that as opposed to have the audio. It just saves yourself a step. And of course, if you know you're having dialogue and how long that dialogue lasts, if I know there's 3 seconds of dialogue, 5 seconds or 10 seconds, I know the length of shot I'm going to want to create with AI tools for a lip sync. That's really important and kind of crucial. So if I was to create a production flow for this AI video in general, it kind of goes generate your voiceover dialogue first, have that, store that, have it saved. That's probably the most important part. That's telling an actual part of your story. Then let's generate the music and score, which might dictate the pace, feeling, emotion. Then we're going to go on and generate our video. That's using our images and then our video itself. And then we do sound effects after. Now, the next few lectures we're going to talk about, the next 7 lectures actually, are about music generation, and we're going to use a couple of great sites that I love. Sometimes I'll just go on there just to play, just to see what music I can generate with lyrics, without lyrics. They're really, really good. And then after that, we're going to the voiceover part and narration, where I can clone my voice, you saw me do, or I can clone someone else's voice, find certain types of voices that I want, get it to speak in a certain way from text, or use my own speech and then change that voice based on my own nuances and mannerisms. Really great stuff. So that's just the reason, the thinking behind why I do this first. Let's go on to the next lecture and begin. The first tool in this section I'm going to show you is Suno, which is just at suno.com. It's free for you to sign up. You'll be confronted with a page something like this. Just log in. You can buy credits. I'll show you that stuff later, but you get 50 free credits, which is anywhere between, depending on what you're doing, 5 to 10 songs, and that's updated every single day. So many of you won't need to even buy credits for this. I'm going to show you what this does. Really good. In fact, I think this is my favorite AI audio tool. I think I came across it when I was trying to find how to generate songs about a certain topic, comedy songs, and I came across Suno. So this is the homepage. You come here. Right now, the artist Timbaland is doing something with a sponsorship, and you can see other people's work they're doing. The Explore tab, quite similar. You can scroll through and you can be inspired by, let's listen to Korean Afrobeat. So that's a funny mix. So you can get inspired by the Explore tab right there. But what you're going to want to have predominantly is Create, this Create tab right here. And let me show you that, because I've been working on some funny things here. I was just trying to see the limitations of it. Everything from Make America Great Again, a Donald Trump comedy song in country form. I'm country and I'm sexy. See if I can make a comedy song there too. A song about Yellowstone, Dutton's Ranch Rodeo. I'll explain all these and show you some examples soon. So this is where you can create your music. Now, there are some advanced things here that I don't really use. Make sure you're on version 3.5, which is the newest one at the time of this recording. I could upload, perhaps I want to upload my own audio. Perhaps I've sung into mic and recorded it and I want just the background music for my own lyrics. You can do that. And custom is where you can get a little bit more advanced here and I can start putting in some lyrics. Perhaps I have some lyrics that I want to do here, or the style of music in more depth. But you don't need to, for most of you, what you're doing. So let me give you some examples of what we can do here and how simple it is. There seems to be, and I've tested lots of different ways to do this, no set ways to best prompt with Suno, but I'm going to show you what I do. I start with the style of music first. So if I go country music, okay, and then I can say something like a song about. And then what do we want to create a song about? This could be anything you want it to be. So if I go a song about how AI video will take over Hollywood. That's what it's about, okay, topic. So I go style of music, topic, and then I want themes and stuff. So make it funny, comedy is what I say. And then if you had anything else, like I want it to be called AI is the future or Hollywood is dead. If you want something like that, you could say include this in the chorus, call it this, but you don't have to. Now, right now I'm having lyrics. I could make it instrumental, but I've obviously want to make it funny, a comedy song. So I can click create and watch this as quick as 3, 2, 1 and done. Okay, that was almost done. That's it. That's it. That's real time. I didn't speed this up. Let me start playing you this. You'll see the lyrics come over on the side here.
Out in Hollywood, things are changing fast. Directors scratching heads, wondering how to last. A robot's got a camera, listening to the scene. Y'all better buckle up for the AI machine. Johnny Depp's replaced by circuit board chap. Meryl's doubles digital, ain't no need to clap. Next Oscar winner, silicone, ain't that a sign?
Okay, so you can see that's funny. And yeah, the voice, you can hear it slightly robotic-ish, but pretty damn good. And it gives you two versions. It's gonna have the same lyrics, different tune. Let me show you this one.
Out in Hollywood, things are changing fast. Directors scratching heads.
Okay, so that's what it always does. Two versions, and then if I want to, I can just click and I can download these. There's a version with video or there's audio. So I know there are YouTube channels that just use Suno, that just generate songs and upload them with video every single day, creating a YouTube channel doing this. So that's how I use that, but I use it for a lot of background music also. So if I say I want a background song, I'm gonna have it like strings and piano, background music, build up, epic, dramatic. Make sure the instrumental once again is on and create. And this is how you can get some really good background music. Now you have all these credits available. See, that just took 5 credits per song and it did 2 songs. You can, of course, buy more credits. I'll show you that in a moment. But you're probably not going to need it if I'm honest with you here. So let me just play that. Really good. So you'd have to, this is the same as you'd pay for stock music that would cost more than this, and this is free obviously, but with the subscription, this is copyright free for you. You can use this in any of your projects. Let's play the other one. Nice, dramatic. So it's really fun. It could make this public and everyone else can hear my songs, but it's really, really fun to do, and you should go along and play with this. So if I was doing my project, for example, I'm going to go into this in more depth at the end of today, but if I was making my piece that we know is set in the USA and Japan, I perhaps would say Japanese inspired with Western influence, or Western with Japanese influence, etc. I could start generating that, but not a huge one to show you here. I can show you actually, let me just show you how much this costs. If I just click on credits and subscription, so $0 a month, 50 new credits daily, that's 10 songs free per day, £10 a month, $10 a month, sorry, will get you 2,500 credits, that's 500 songs for $10 a month. Very, very reasonable for what it does. And you could see that, I mean, if I just go on to, I can show you actually, 1 second. Here, if I show you this channel on YouTube here, they've used Suno to make this country song about Harry and Meghan, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, but they are rednecks and obviously used AI video over the top of it. Have a little listen to this.
A trailer in the sticks. Harry and Meghan made the move, got their hillbilly fix, trading in the crown for a camel hat and vest, loving the simple life, they reckon it's the best.
So you could quite easily create your own song about anything you're interested in, any topic. I have some here about Yellowstone. You saw I have on there. I'm a big fan of the show, and it actually can show you. Actually, if I just grab that song for you, here, let me show you Dutton's Ranch Rodeo. And you see the lyrics here, actually intelligently using AI, knows about the show, characters, storylines, etc.
Out in Montana where the sky's so clear, Dutton's run the ranch year after year. Rips the enforcer with a steely stare, mess with the brand, you better beware.
So it knows the show's set in Montana, it knows what it's about, they run a ranch, it knows the character Rip and his character, it knows Beth and how she's got a temper. It's using AI to generate, in seconds here, lyrics, tunes about topics and accurate, great information. Please utilize Suno. If for anything, every day just go on there and play and see what you can generate. You'll probably be inspired by some ideas to create some stuff here. Go and check it out. And on the next one, I'm going to show you another quite similar, not quite my favorite, but still pretty good. And I want to show you as many as possible. Udio, let me show you that on the next lecture. The next tool I want to show you is Udio, which is a lot like Suno we saw in the last lecture. So maybe you'll have your favorite. I want to show you this and how this works. So in exactly the same way, if you come over to udio.com, there are free credits and there are paid credits also. And you can put in your prompts. And I want to say prompts because both of these tools, the reason it doesn't matter entirely how you prompt is that automatically, both tools, I believe, but they automatically, actually explains it well here, change the prompts, they rewrite them to best suit their own needs within the tool. If I was to click manual mode here, I'd be fully in charge and it would take my prompt as I said it. But if I leave that off, it knows, Udio knows what it needs to break down a prompt to give you the best results. So I often leave this off and you're able to put in your suggestions. Now it has these genres of music right here along the bottom. You can select. So let's try one, shall we, on here. Let's go for a hip hop song, a funny comedy song about Kevin Hart and the Rock's bromance. Let's put that in there because it's going to be topical. It's going to be able to find lots of information about this. And let's just give it that. Let's create. It already knows it's hip hop. It knows that. Let's create. Okay, this finished generating. Let's hit play and see how these compare. Now these are, you can see, actually I should show you this. It has the credits right here. I selected 2 credits, so they're 32-second clip. Or I could have done here and done 4 credits and gone up to 2:10. That's compared to Suno, which on the latest version has up to 3 minutes and often creates 3 minutes. I also had it auto-generated lyrics. You could write the lyrics or have it instrumental. So let's have a little listen to what these sound like.
Kevin Hart and Dwayne, a duo so strong, cracking jokes and slamming all day long. Coming at you with that rocky charm. Hart's got the funnies, no alarm. Cruising down the street like a buddy cop show, making everyone laugh, stealing the flow. The bromance keeps us grinning, can't deny. These two dudes got a friendship that...
Okay, nice. It's got that old school kind of hip hop.
Rocking with my brother, yeah, Hart and Rock. Lifting weights, cracking jokes, we never stop. On the stage, busting laughs in the gym. Lifted,
Hollywood's famous.
yeah, but gifted. Dynamic duo, never need a script.
Nice. It's super cool to hear this, isn't it? Just to have this instantly created for us so fast. So in exactly the same way, I'd use this a lot for background music. But if you are creating a channel or something, social media perhaps, that's around a topic, or if you had a scene and there was a hip hop song like that, or country or anything, needed with lyrics talking about a situation, maybe not the characters directly, this is awesome for that. Now I'll show you the upgrade options on here. Free, you have 10 credits per day, additional 100 credit per month. $10 a month, $30 a month gets you all of this. So much the same as Suno. It's going to be which one you prefer. So go ahead and play with those. I love this, and it gives us so many options for both our music, for our projects, which we'll come to at the end, but also whole channel styles if you wanted to create something by this on social media using AI audio with AI visuals. Super great. Okay, let me go and show you in the next lecture some AI tools in editing that you can use to extend tracks, remove lyrics and things like that. I'll show you Filmora in the next lectures. Just a quick one about some really cool things I want to show you with AI and audio with some other tools. So this is Filmora, which is actually an editing program itself. There's a free version. You can go online and find it and log in. You can create an account. You can also pay monthly for this and get access to other features. It's somewhat similar to CapCut or an online or slightly more full version of maybe Premiere Pro even. There is so much to this. Very user-friendly with the interface and stuff. Far more friendly than, say, Final Cut, Premiere Pro, some of those more advanced tools. So if you're not an advanced editor, you want to learn to edit, I fully suggest Filmora. Really great. Loads of tutorials online. I'm going to show you some cool stuff here with audio. So I have here, this is song Rise Up. We actually created this 2 lectures ago on Suno. If I drag this onto here, this is, let's turn it down slightly. This is the song we created, that instrumental song. Great. And that is 3 minutes and a touch. That's fine. What if you wanted, well, really it finishes here. What if you wanted that longer? How annoying to try and go in. I could try and put these 2 side by side and then mesh them together or something. That would be ugly. Luckily, there are some tools and other software has it, but Filmora that I like to use has them too. If I go up here, you see above here, audio stretch, just click that. Now, if I just drag this over, watch how fast this is. That's it. Now the audio, rather than finish where it did before, it comes back up again. So using AI with the intelligence, it knows what the music sound like. It dipped, it came up, dipped, came up, dipped, and now it finishes right here with a very similar outro before. What if I want that longer again? Oh, now it just makes that center part longer and then fades off. Super useful. So when you need slightly more on a track, you don't need to go and regenerate this and chop this together. Using AI right now, you can use it inside Filmora and you can use AI Stretch. There are a few amazing tools. I've actually separated them into 3 lectures. The next 2 also in Filmora. Some other tools I want to show you. That super quick tutorial. I just want to show you AI Stretch. There are some really good AI tools that you're going to want to use for sure. So let's continue. Let me show you the next cool tool inside Filmora. So still inside Filmora here, really this software gets better and better the more I use and play with it. So much from removing background instantly with a click. There's so much to this, even multi-camera stuff if you're doing podcast editing. Honestly, I'm going to go into this at the end when we get to the AI editing. I think this software above all has a lot more AI features than others and is very user-friendly. So we'll talk about that more, but right now I want to show you another audio trick, another tool we have inside here. So if I have this video, this is the first one of those. So in this section, it's broken. That's a video of me from this section, actually, I think, where we were filming this. So what you might want, either underneath this, or you could have had some, I don't know, I could find some stock media right here. I could have grabbed this from the stock media they have inside here, Filmora. I could have had anything really, it doesn't matter. What I want to show you here with an audio an automatic with an AI tool is how to get background music. So rather than going to like Suno and get background music for using credits or whatever, if you already had access to this, you can use this for that. So here's the beach scene, for example. Let's do these separate and just see. So if I'm talking here and I want some background music, just a light little something behind just to create emotion, or perhaps I have a scene where I want to have some background music. Whatever the situation is, it's as easy as one click. Just here, these two arrows, I can go smart background music generation. Click that. It's analyzing the content. It is intelligently analyzing when I speak, at what volume I speak, even the content on which I'm speaking about, to try and get us a track. Now I can generate this once, twice, 3 times. I'll get a different result every single time. And yes, it's copyright free for you to use. So this is a real easy, if you are choosing an editing software, do try Filmora. And this is super easy to speed things up. You could have had your entire AI video and use some background music and generate that automatically. Obviously you probably want slightly more control, but just regenerate and use some tracks in some bits and not in others, but it can do it automatically for you now using AI. So let's let that generate and let's have a little listen. That's finished generating. Let's have a little listen to
else,
this.
That's the scripting, mood boards, everything like that.
Oh, nice.
You
Just
need at least 3 elements
underneath
here
what I'm
to make
saying
AI
here. Let me just mute that and you'll hear it. Nice, perfect. So just another tool I wanted to show you inside Filmora. Once again, I could regenerate this again. I can go background music generation and it can do it all over again for me and I will get a different result every single time. The great thing is it's already inside my editing software, so I could fade this in, fade this out, have it here, cut it even if I wanted to, all inside the software. I don't have to be downloading it elsewhere and dragging it. It's all inside here. So that's really, really good. So there's one more thing I want to show you inside Filmora before we move on to some other lectures. So the last little thing inside these 3 little lectures I want to show you with Filmora on little AI tools for audio is the lyric remover or separator, I guess really it should be. So let me show you this. I've got this track on here that we took from Suno, I'm Country and I'm Sexy.
Got my boots on tight, my hat sitting right.
Okay, so obviously it has audio and lyrics on there. Now there may be a situation where you need to have, for example, a scene starts and it's fine. There's a montage of shots on there and you can have lyrics on there, but then maybe someone starts to speak. So you want it to fade down, still have the audio on there, but without the lyrics. Or you might just like the track, or you might want the lyrics a cappella. Whatever the reason is, really simple. Inside Filmora, I can click on the track I have, actually control click or left click, and then you see up here it says AI vocal remover. Click that and it is removing it super quickly. It's really fast to do, and you can see the results that we get. Incredible. I love we live in a time where we can do this. Also a way you can get all your favorite songs and start making your own karaoke, obviously. So that's done. That took less than a minute. That was so fast. Inside here, I've got the original track, I've got the voice and the background. So if I mute this, obviously this will sound exactly the same. Both tracks on there. But if I just remove the background for a second, let's listen to this.
Got my boots on tight, my hat sitting right. Driving down a dirt road in the soft moonlight.
Nice. There's the lyrics. Okay, mute that, unmute it, and then play. Here's the background. You can see here where there would be lyrics spoken, you see, and it's removed it entirely, taking it away. So now I have whatever option I want. I've got the background music and the lyrics. I've actually seen AI videos where they've done this. I saw someone the other day make one called Conway Fitty, and it was Conway Twitty, the country music star, and 50 Cent, and they took the lyrics from a 50 Cent song just like this, just removed the background and then had the audio from a Conway Twitty song and put them together. It was super funny. But there can be obviously so many reasons you would need to do this, but to show you another AI tool that's super quick and easy to use that fits this section section that we're going through here is this one that I want to show you, the lyric remover. Now I'm going to go in and talk a little bit more about some ethics and rules, or copyright actually. Next lecture, let's talk about copyright, because if I was to use some of this music and you plan to put this online, then you're going to have lots of issues, or some you're not going to have any issues. So let's quickly go over and talk about that in the next lecture. I want to discuss with you about copyright, social medias, and rules when you're using audio and music, especially music. They are very important and strict on social medias, and also if you were to do this to create for short film festivals or corporate pieces, etc. There are lots of rules, especially regarding music, even more than visual quite often. So I'll bring up the slide here and I just want to go over some things with you. Now, generally, music on social media faces strict copyright limitations. Unlicensed tracks can lead to takedowns, muted videos, or even account penalties. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube each have their own unique guidelines. Now, I'm going to tell you what the rules are, generally speaking, as of the time of recording, but please go over. I'll show you on site here. YouTube have their own. If you just search copyright music, you can get YouTube's, you can get TikTok's. Instagram's page, all about how to use music in your videos, and the same thing with TikTok, and Instagram and Facebook are the same platform, of course, and you can see how to use them if there's been any updates, but I doubt anything will change from this. So if I go back to the slide, what you'll find is platform specific. Instagram and TikTok offer licensed music libraries for personal, non-commercial use, while YouTube enforces stricter copyright rules but provides monetization-friendly audio options through YouTube's audio library. So inside YouTube, they will have, if you go into your studio on YouTube, there is a whole platform of free music inside YouTube. If I show you just here under this test account I've got here for YouTube, if I scroll down audio library inside YouTube, all of these, if I play one, are free, copyright-free music that you can use. That was a bit scary, that one. And I can easily go in and filter stuff by track title, genre. So maybe I want cinematic stuff. Okay, and it will just show me that, and it will show me the license type. You're allowed to use this basically and still generate money from YouTube. Now, if I was to use a track by an artist, a famous artist, or anyone really who has logged it as not copyright free, not royalty free, then what's going to happen is your video will probably in most cases be able to be uploaded and go out to the world still, but any monetization you use on that will go straight to the owner of the music track. So even if you made a 10-minute video, a few seconds of it, 10 seconds of it, let's say 30 seconds, are someone else's song, a song by a famous artist. Whoever owns the right to that music is getting everything from that video. All the monetization for it is going over there. It may also be limited in certain locations in the world. It won't show the video. And similar, you'll see on TikTok, rather than do this, what they'll do, and occasionally on other platforms also, but TikTok mute the audio. So your video will not get any impressions. You'll see it often at 0. It's muted. If anyone was to watch it, it would be a silent, quiet video. They all have, if you're uploading inside of TikTok or any place in Instagram, they have their own audio libraries of safe to use audio content. So a solution is either use the free provided audio that's inside these platforms, or you could use stock footage, which I'm going to talk to you about next, which you've paid for to have a license. And some of that stuff is actual great quality, existing, current, known artists, and you're allowed to upload to all these social media platforms, or at least YouTube predominantly, and be able to make money, monetize these, and not have any limitations on them. And you have great quality music, but that comes at a cost. Or you could be using, as we showed you in the early stages of this section, things like Suno and Udio. You can create your own, or the background music inside Filmora, create your own music track. There's no need to pay for any now or have any of these limitations. When those tracks are generated with Suno and Udio, they are yours, they are unique, they are free to use on any of the social platforms that you could want to. Now, if you are also, I want to show on the slide, if you're also producing for film festivals, corporate events, especially corporate events, if you have a client you're making audio for, make sure you are using the correct audio that won't get them, their business, in trouble, could get them fined. You can go even further and go to like PRS and get a license for this like they do in the film and TV industry, but not necessary. We can make it with AI right here or use any of the free audio that's available on these platforms. So the other option was, of course, stock audio, which I'm going to show you just quickly right now in the next lecture before we get on with making some voiceovers and narration and create those with AI. To round off this section nicely, where we're talking about the music score that you would want for your tracks, I guess I need to finish with stock music, which would have been the only way just a handful of years ago for us to get music to use. We would have had to have grabbed ourselves stock music. And yes, you could go onto YouTube and search royalty-free music, and then you download it and put it on your video and then find out it's not royalty-free music. That happens with a lot of people. Please don't do that. If you're going to use music that already exists by a creator, please use stock platforms just like these. These are the main ones I'm going to show you that I've used a lot. But of course, they come with a price. So if you're looking for the free option, AI, or the free music I showed you in the last lecture that's available on each platform. These are Music Bed, which I used a lot, which I really like, Epidemic Sounds, and also Artlist. Now, all of these have great reputations, and especially Music Bed, which I used predominantly. I've heard their tracks. I've watched some stuff on Netflix and heard shows use the same tracks that are inside here. If I search, for example, I know there's an artist, I think her name is Lady Bree. Yeah, some of this stuff is definitely inside. I watched the Netflix show Selling Sunset, one of those real estate come reality shows, and it definitely had this song inside it.
Keep your hands a clapping and your feet a stumping. Next thing you'll be jumping, 'cause it feels so good.
So it's obviously very good quality. These are actual artists that are releasing their stuff out there. I've also had some classical music that I found on here. There was that, I don't even know the name, but you know, dun 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 dun. That was on here to use. There are some real great finds you can get, and all of them are much the same. Epidemic Sounds and also Artlist, you all got a free trial pretty much. You can see the huge brands that are using them and the kind of tracks that you can get, all available on here. But yeah, really nice. But I could have created that with AI, right? We could do that. These are surely all going to have to transfer over to have an AI option on here. Actually, I'm going to come up to you in the next section. We're going to look at Artlist. I'm going to suggest it for AI voiceover stuff. We'll talk about it in the next little few lectures, in about 5 lectures time or so. They obviously come at a cost. Let me show you the pricing for some of these. So there is individual here, view the pricing. I'm not a business. I am a YouTube creator, for example. So I could have unlimited songs at $29 a month. And then if I do exactly the same here, pay monthly, yeah, almost $20 a month, $17.99, Epidemic Sounds. And then Artlist, if I'm doing the same thing, music and SFX, social music, FX Pro, anywhere from $9 to $16, depending on the package that you want. So of course there's a cost. It's not a huge cost, but there's some other stuff to think about here. If you are using, I know Music Bed, you upload your YouTube video first unlisted, it clears it in the background, and then set it as public. Don't do it straight away because it takes time to clear, often only minutes, and it's automatic, but there is that little thing to think about. Also, if you have your music, your videos with this music on there, and then you stop paying for a subscription, they will not stop your subscription unless you take down those videos where you used this before. So you are kind of stuck with, if you want that content still existing out there on YouTube and things, then you are stuck that you obviously need to keep your subscription going. So that's how I was going to round off this section, just talking about stock music. Obviously, we have to cover that when we're talking about getting music for our videos. So let's continue on. We're going to go now and talk about getting our voiceovers and narration. You're going to see me clone my voice, clone some other voices, create some great narration and dialogue pieces coming up. Really quick now, I'm just gonna say this right here before we go on to the next half of this section. Now we've done about music and audio. That was great, so good, wasn't it? I'm obsessed with Suno. Now I'm gonna go on to showing you how to create voice, dialogue, voiceovers, or audio for lip syncing and even cloning. Now the next lecture is about ethics and legality, and I just want to reiterate what I'm about to tell you in the next lecture. This next bit is really exciting. You can bring your characters to life. You can bring people to life with all different voices. You're also able to clone yourself, and if you were to, but it'd be very untoward, clone a celebrity or famous person's voice. I strongly suggest in this course you do not do that, and why there are laws protecting that from happening, and also the tools you're going to see yourself. It's forever changing, and the laws and ethics I'm about to show in the next section are as of today's date, but these are going to be changing forever, and as AI becomes more commonplace, they will continue to evolve. And given the place in which you're watching this from anywhere around the world, the laws are going to be different from where you are distributing that to where you are recording. Please bear in mind, do not try to just do this to spoof a celeb and do someone's voice and make something untoward, even be it comical or whatever it is you're trying to do. I would fully suggest, and this course recommends, you stay away from that. That being said, let's go on to the next one. I'm going to talk about the legality of it so you know where you stand before you start doing this, and then let's go and create some fun voices. All right, let's go to the next lecture. So before I continue on to the next section, I think it's really important that I just go over some laws and ethics, because what I'm about to teach you will allow you to clone voices, and therefore an integral part of deep faking, which no one, I think, agrees with if it is used in a negative way. So let me just go over just quickly some of the laws, ethics, and examples of deepfakes and what's out there and what I think you should be concentrating on. Now, the law is obviously going to change as this develops. It's going to be changing weekly, monthly, yearly, and also in the place where you live, where you are located. I'm just going to go over kind of the law currently that is generalized in the US West. Voice cloning through artificial intelligence intersects with various legal domains, including intellectual property, privacy rights, and publicity. Legally using someone's voice without consent can infringe upon their rights to control their likeness and personal attributes. For instance, Tennessee's Ensuring Likeness, Voice and Image Security, ELVIS, Act explicitly protects individuals' voices from unauthorized AI replication, imposing civil liabilities on violators. So you are in control if you are a celebrity, famous person, even an individual, in control of your likeness, including your voice. Quite apt that this is set in Tennessee, where there is Nashville, and this is actually called Elvis, where people's voices I could replicate the voice of a famous country singer, for example, in Nashville, and record songs and music that sound just like them. That's not allowed. That's not going to be okay, because that is the intellectual property and likeness of that person. Now, let me give you some examples right now that's available for you to see, and if this is worrying for you, let me know what you think. Let me just show you a couple of videos on YouTube of deep faking people's voices and then lip syncing, but this is the audio section, so let's just concentrate on the audio here.
Second youngest son. He's suggesting it came out of nowhere. What we subsequently learned is it may have come from the former president or his legal team acting in bad faith. This is a deepfake example of what is possible with powerful computer and editing. It took around 72 hours to create this example from scratch using extremely powerful GPU. It could be improved with more computing time, but 90% of people cannot tell the difference.
So that was an example of deepfake, and there are many on here. Yes, the lip sync is slightly out, and that said, it took 72 hours. You could be manipulating, you could be cloning voices of people, and then you could use that in a malicious way. That is illegal and ethically unsound. Let me just show you a couple more examples, because of course this could be used in a political sphere.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time.
Jordan Peele created this fake video of President Obama to demonstrate how easy it is to put words in someone else's mouth.
Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet.
Not everyone bought it. But the technology behind such frauds...
Scary, isn't it? So, I just want to draw your attention back over to the slide about the ethics on this. Ethically, our voice cloning raises concerns about consent, authenticity, and potential misuse. Replicating a person's voice without permission can lead to identity theft, fraud, and spread of misinformation. To address these issues, AI developers are implementing measures to promote ethical use. Companies like ElevenLabs have developed tools capable of detecting AI-generated voices with high accuracy, aiding to the identification and prevention of deepfake audio. And also, a lot of platforms, I'm saying here, what are they doing about it? They don't allow you. I will show you. If, for example, I tried inside ElevenLabs to add in a lot of video footage of, say, Donald Trump's voice, and then try to clone that voice, it would come up with a warning saying, is this your voice? We need to verify it. And they would live verify through a recording of myself. So you should only be able to deepfake, if you like, or clone your own voice, or use some of the existing clone models that they have where people have allowed to use their voices. Many of the software has this, luckily, thank goodness, for the sake of ethics, this block that doesn't allow you to copy someone's voice. But there are, of course, rogue softwares out there. I'm not aware of any. I mean, I haven't used any. I'm showing you over-the-counter AI tools where you can do this and use this. And for those, ElevenLabs predominantly, you won't be able to fake anyone's voice. Please, as a rule, and what I'm promoting in this course, only use these tools to either clone your own voice or use someone else's voice that you have permission for to create artistic and creative videos. This is not intended for deepfake or misuse, and it's already illegal, but we're going to see a huge uptake on legal ramifications for people doing this. Please don't. So there are two ways in which you can generate audio: text to speech and speech to speech in ElevenLabs. Now we've gone over the ethics, let's go into ElevenLabs, and I'm going to teach you how to use this amazing piece of software. So let's get creative now and actually start to make some voiceover, narration. Let's make some speech, shall we, using AI. And I'm going to be using for this ElevenLabs. Now, like I've mentioned, ElevenLabs is, at time of recording this, pretty much a market leader when it comes to this stuff. There is a free version of this. You can go and test it. And then, of course, there are paid versions to allow yourself more generations and such like. I'll go over those at another time. But I want to make you aware of this and what this is like. And then we're going to actually do some text to speech in this tutorial. So when you come to the page that looks like this, ElevenLabs.io, there's the top part here, create. This is what we're going to concentrate on today. Then there's workflow, with helping you if you were doing things like dubbing or voiceovers on a piece. We don't need to worry about this right now. These top four we're going to go over in this course predominantly. Now, sound effects, like I mentioned, we'll use this in post-production when we already have everything put together. I can already imagine that if I am, of course, doing my project piece about the bomb in Japan and Pearl Harbor bombing, that I'm going to need sound effects of things like that, and I can generate those here inside ElevenLabs. Voices are all the voices we can use, and also some cloning, and then there's voice changer and text to speech. So let me show you one of these. Now we're going to start with text to speech, which is the easiest but gives you the less control as opposed to speech to speech, but we do that in the next lecture. Let me remove this. So I'm going to go over to ChatGPT, and I've just asked it to generate a simple 30-second narration about an intro of a story, a modern take of Tom Sawyer. So I've got myself some nice text right here, and it is as if it's the beginning of a narration of a video, a modern day version of Tom Sawyer, where the buzz of smartphones on the river still rolls on. Tom Sawyer, mischievous kid with endless curiosity and a knack for trouble. In a world of TikToks and text messages, Tom's adventures are anything but digital. Okay, so if I just paste that into here. Now, what I like to do, and every time you generate, by the way, when I click generate, it's going to have a different result just slightly every time we do it, with regards pauses, punctuations and things. But I can do my best too. On the banks of the Mississippi, where smartphone buzz lives Tom Sawyer, a mischievous kid with endless curiosity and knack for trouble. I'm gonna give myself a couple of spaces there, anything digital. He's a dreamer, rule breaker, wild scheme. And I'm going to give myself breaks here. Now, of course, in the edit, I could cut these all into pieces, but this will just allow me to have somewhat of a small amount of break. You can also do things like ... We'll see how that comes out, and aid with pausing here. So now with this text to speech, I have my text that I want them to speak here. This is stability and similarity. This is matching over to the voice I have down here selected. How much of that do I want to match here? Now, let me go to my users here. I can go find more voices. This is where I have my whole catalog of voices that are available inside ElevenLabs. I can decide how I want my voiceover to sound based on who the character is, the narrator, and such like. I can filter this down by trending voices or latest. I can also go by language, accent. So I like to do this. I'll go English. I want my accent to be American. I can then filter this further and go gender. I think I want a male voice for this and an old male as if he's telling a story. And then I can start listening to some of these. So let's take a little listen.
Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration.
That's quite nice for this, I think. Okay, Mr. Storyteller.
The sun rises in the east and sets in the west.
Yeah, okay.
Love is like the wind. You can't see it, but you can feel it.
All right.
In seed time learn, in harvest teach, in winter enjoy.
I quite like Morgan.
Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration.
I think I like Tom the most. Let me just say this.
A man sees in the world what he carries in his heart.
So you can go through and you can find what you want here. I think I already have inside my voice that I've generated already somebody that I wanted to use. Let me test Ben right here.
If one is lucky, a solitary fantasy can totally transform.
Oh no, it wasn't Ben because he's English accent. Let me keep going.
I did not have any illegal.
I've failed over and over and over again in my life.
Okay, this is who I want to use. Carter, okay? Carter, the mountain guy. That kind of gruff voice on here. And I can go on the stability. So the more variable it is, under 30% may lead to instability. And I can make it more and more stable. And I can move up the similarity right here in the same way based on the voice that I want to have right there. So I can go generate speech now.
On the banks of the Mississippi, where smartphones buzz but the river still rolls on, lives Tom Sawyer, a mischievous kid with an endless curiosity and a knack for trouble. In a world of TikToks and text messages, Tom's adventures are anything but digital. He's a dreamer, a rule breaker, and every day's an opportunity for a wild scheme. But when he stumbles upon a secret hidden in the heart of his hometown, Tom's carefree days are about to take a serious turn.
Okay, nice. So that was great. So I can then choose to download that, or once again, I could just alter these slightly. I could regenerate speech, and let's just take a listen.
On the banks of the Mississippi, where smartphones buzz but the river still rolls on, lives Tom Sawyer, a mischievous kid with an endless curiosity.
Okay, so that feels like where I've moved down the similarity, the stability slightly less, it's a little bit faster, perhaps even more conversational. I quite like that. And you can just go along and play, scrolling through here for the stability and similarity. And you can also make sure you go through and find the voice that you want. Now, I just want to show you, if you were trying to create your own voices here, if I go onto voice right there, and I can go add a new voice, okay? And you have the options right here. So if I wanted to clone myself, which I will show you on this, clone yourself, you can go onto instant clone, voice libraries on here, professional clone, this is where you give more. But right here, if I uploaded just 2 minutes of my own voice, if I click on here, I could name this myself. I uploaded just 2 minutes of my own voice. Then it would be able to accurately clone yourself, which I've already done. So if I'm speaking, if I go back to my text voice right here, I could actually choose myself here. If I generate speech, this should sound like I'm saying this. On the banks of the Mississippi, where smartphones buzz but the river still rolls on, lives Tom Sawyer, a mischievous kid with an endless curiosity and a knack for trouble. That's scary that that was done with about 2 minutes worth of audio. So if you have a video of yourself where you're speaking, or just speak for 2 minutes and then upload that, you could clone yourself. It's very, very scary. And once again, to go back to the last lecture about ethics, you could try to clone someone else's voice, but it will pop up with the warning. Actually, shall I show you that and we can try and see if it does that? Actually, I'm going to save that for in 2 lectures time. So what I've done here is I have just got this speech by Donald Trump, just a few minutes long. I've downloaded it using a downloader. And what I'm going to do in 2 lectures time, I'm going to show you next, we're going to go speech to speech. Now we're done text to speech. I'm going to show you voice cloning, a whole lecture on that, and we can try and break it and see if we can voice clone Donald Trump, which we shouldn't be allowed to do, and how to voice clone yourself, actually step by step. Let's do that in case you want to do that, or another voice that you are allowed to use. So that was text to speech. Please go along, play with all the different ones that you want. I'll show you a couple of different tools here, Filmora, Artlist, etc. later on, but play with the stability, similarity, and the different kind of voice that you want. Lots and lots of fun. And also you saw that there was a small pause after this, putting in some gaps here. Play with that. It's really, really great. And how real does it sound? We've come a long way with AI voiceovers in the last few years. They used to be terrible and sound like computers, and now they're so good. All right, I'm going to show you speech to text. This is text to speech. I'm going to show you speech to text in the next section, next lecture, and then we're going to get onto some cloning, some exciting stuff coming up. So moving on to another way to get great sound, and this I think is even better than using text-to-speech because you are completely in control of the nuances and the mannerisms, if you like, in a voice's tone or the way it is projected, the way certain words are emphasized, for example. So it is way more human when you use this, and you don't need to be an amazing actor. Don't be worried, I'm not a voiceover actor myself. You'll be able to do this, and you also don't need great sound quality. You don't need to have an expensive microphone like you've seen in my other shots. You can just be using the audio from your laptop, and it works just as well. They've enabled that. So let me show you how to do this. If I go to voice changer up here, so before we're on text to speech, if I go to voice changer, and then I can either do one of 2 things. I could upload audio. So if you've recorded this on a voice note on your phone and put it onto your laptop, or if you have audio already for whatever reason, you can upload the audio here, or I can record the audio. Now this is the much easier way to do it. So if I toggle here, record audio, it's just going to take this as soon as I record this and record me speaking. Now, once again, you do not need amazing quality sound. It is just taking the voice, the words you are saying, and the way you are saying them, and then it's going to convert it into the voice we're using, in this case, Ben, or whichever one I use, and it will change it and it will use that. It doesn't matter about the actual quality. So if I'm going to actually just speak this. If I read this in a different way, you'll see exactly how it can change it. So hit record, and then I just simply read in the way I want to. On the banks of the Mississippi, where smartphone buzz but the river still rolls on, lives Tom Sawyer, a mischievous kid with an endless curiosity and knack for trouble. In a world of TikToks and text messages, Tom's adventures are anything but digital. I'm going to just stop that and just use that right here. I can play this back and we can have a listen. On the banks of the Mississippi, where smartphone buzz but the river still rolls on, lives Tom Sawyer, a mischievous... So I've definitely said that on purposely, intentionally, as I was recording that, different from a standard reading like we heard in text-to-speech in the last lecture. Now, if I go back onto here and I add this to Carter the Mountain King, I could then go up to stability, similarity, high, and I could have Carter in his deep American voice say this in the same way that I said each of my words. Let's generate this.
On the banks of the Mississippi, where smartphone buzz but the river still rolls on, lives Tom Sawyer, a mischievous kid with an endless curiosity and knack for trouble. In a world of TikToks and text messages,
So, okay, you've got me now with my same kind of British accent. It's got on there the way I'm saying it, but it's got a far more deeper tone of voice. I could also move up the similarity and make it less stable right here. Let's regenerate that and have a little listen if I up the similarity.
On the banks of the Mississippi, where smartphone buzz but the river still rolls on, lives Tom Sawyer, a mischievous kid with an endless curiosity.
Nice. All right, let's change this completely. Let's change this to Jessica. I want to change genders. Let's make the similarity high and the stability right somewhere in the middle. Let's generate that and hear her speak as I do.
On the banks of the Mississippi, where smartphone buzz but the river still rolls on, lives Tom Sawyer, a mischievous kid with an endless curiosity and knack for trouble. In a world of TikToks and text messages, Tom's adventures are...
Now, where this obviously has a huge advantage, in text-to-speech, we were very much left down to the way it was interpreted through punctuation.
On the banks of the Mississippi, where smartphones buzz but the river still rolls on, lives Tom Sawyer.
Which I think has slightly more of a AI feel to it still. It doesn't feel like a real person. Whereas if I'm using voice changer, as we showed with the example, it has far more of a human feel to it. So I would always, and I'm going to later in this section, use your own voice. You can see how you don't need to be an actor. You're just speaking it in the way you want to speak it, and that's fine. Now, accents sometimes can be a thing. If I'm speaking a British accent and I choose an American, they can still sound somewhat British. I've tested this and I cannot do accents very well. If I just do somewhat of an American accent while I say it, then it definitely sounds American as it said. But this still sounded fairly American, and you could up the similarity and play around with the stability. So that was Voice Changer, which I really am a fan of. It's the best way to get the most high quality version of a voiceover for your AI video. So the last thing I want to do in the next one is we're going to clone a voice. I started teasing it in the last lecture and got ahead of myself. I was excited about this tool. I really love it. So we're going to voice clone in the next one. We're going to try and break it so that we can clone something we're not supposed to, which should pop up ethically with a block on here, and then I can clone my own voice, which will allow you to then forever, if you were doing voiceover or documentaries or video essays on YouTube, you would never have to record anything again. Doesn't that sound amazing? So let's move on to the next lecture and let's clone some voices. So let's clone some voices. This is an exciting one right here. If I come over to voices right here on the left hand side, I can go add a new voice. And this is where it can pop up and you can go instant clone, professional clone. This is what you want here. Professional clone, you could do, I've already done my one, and on the package I'm on, I've reached my limit that I'm allowed one. This is where you would, if you were trying to clone your own voice, for example, I used it where I cloned my voice successfully. I gave it up to 30 minutes of clean audio. That's a lot. And I was then able to make video documentaries and voiceovers where I didn't need to actually be present, and what I used was text-to-speech, and it was so good, the clone, that I was able to use myself to be able to speak this. Like this, you'll also hear me right now speak artificially. On the banks of the Mississippi, where smartphones buzz but the river still rolls on. Scary, very scary. Okay, so let's go back to voices, add a new voice. I'm going to teach you how to clone. So I said we're going to do two things here. One, I'm going to try and break it, and we'll see the warning come up. If I am successful in breaking and cloning a celebrity, someone I don't have permission to, I will of course email and contact ElevenLabs, have I done before, and said, hey, this is someone's life that people could be messing with if they use their voice. So awarded them, and then they're going to use their know-how to be able to block that voice and ask people to verify it's their voice should a similar voice be generated. So what you'll want is this instant voice clone right here. Now you'll hit this, it'll come up. You can give it a name. So I'm going to try and clone Donald Trump. Okay, we'll first do what we shouldn't be able to do. And what I've done is just over here on YouTube, I found this 3-minute speech. I've then downloaded that 3-minute speech. If I just open that up here it is. Let's go to here. I'll just play a bit.
While fleeing far from the scene of the wreckage, the goal of cancel culture is to make decent Americans live.
Okay, so there it is. So I can just grab that. That was free, obviously, to grab that. I can grab it and pop it just into here, and it will start doing the background work. It says 1 to 25. You can upload as many as you want, but it's pretty good, ElevenLabs. You can do it just on 1 or 2 even. It doesn't matter. Here I'm going to lie and try and fake it, and then I will let them know if it let me do this. I'm not using this for any malice, and you shouldn't either. I'm going to show you the warning to show you cannot do this, should not do this. If I go to add voice, and it will automatically in the background start doing its thing to recognize the voice. So it instantly started, and then it says voice requires verification. We need to verify that the voice is yours. So it does its job very, very well. I need to verify the voice. By doing so, I would then record my own voice and I would verify it that way. Or it says here, you can use a similar voice if you want to, but
if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door.
The best way out is always through. The best way out.
But that's good, isn't it? That's in place to not allow us to clone someone's voice, and then I could make a malice video, for example, or have him say something he didn't say inside ElevenLabs. I'm really glad that's here, and I'm showing you that. Don't do it, and you can't if you wanted to, but don't. So what I want to do right here is add my own voice. If I go to add a new voice, once again, exactly the same way, I'm going to go instant voice clone. I'm going to call this me. I'm then going to drag some audio of myself. Okay, just done that. There's a 10 megabyte maximum. This is 5.7 megabytes, which is enough. I can click that, yes, this is me, and it is me. I can add the voice, and it does that in the background, and I'm going to clone my voice. So this is how you'd be cloning your voice if you want to use this. Once again, where would you use this? Now, if I was creating, let's say I was someone like Magnus Media. Now, Magnus Media or Jake Tran or someone like this makes video essays about all kinds of things from, I don't know, the truth about PayPal, Mr. Beast, IKEA, etc. Makes these video essays that has his voiceover throughout. He's never on screen. He could clone his own voice, and he could then use AI even. You could use ChatGPT to write his scripts. He could then paste his script into here. So I could actually do that right now. We could actually give it a try. I can go write me a 5-minute script about the dark truth of Coca-Cola. So let's wait for that to generate. So if I just maybe grab this first section, I would obviously grab the whole essay here. I can go back into this, go into text to speech. I could then paste that onto here. We've just generated me, so let me find me. Here I am. I can go, I want it very similar to me. Let's generate this.
Coca-Cola, the world's most iconic drink. It's everywhere, from crowded stadiums to tiny convenience stores in the middle of nowhere. But what lies beneath the familiar red label? Today, we uncover the dark.
So you don't need to, that was only doing it with about 2 minutes worth of audio. I would, of course, upload 10 plus things. When we did this on voices, where we added a new voice and we instant cloned, you can add up to 25 samples. The more you give it, the better, obviously. And that was done in just about 1 minute with one clip, and then you could clone yourself. So you could make it even better if you obviously gave it more and more data. So that was really good, wasn't it? That was fun to do, but make sure you use this tool ethically, okay? Now, ElevenLabs is, I think, the market leader in this area, but there are some other tools that are trying to make way with this, especially Phil Moore. I showed you some of the stuff earlier in this section that was really good with AI audio. There's some more, there's Artlist, etc. So I'm going to show you some other tools of note that you may want to play with if you don't want to use ElevenLabs, because if I go into the pricing for this, you can see that this costs, there's free and you're allowed this many credits. There's $5 a month and there's $22 a month. This is the one I'm on right here, and there's lots of different plans. If you wanted a different price point, different package, then I'm going to show you some other tools available here. Also, Filmora has a really good one for trailers if you are making trailers. Okay, let's talk about that on the next lecture. So ElevenLabs is obviously not the only tool around for AI voiceovers. There are lots, and if you just search AI voiceover, actually these two, Artlist, which has adverts everywhere right now, you've probably seen them if you've been on YouTube and looked at anything AI, and also Filmora that I've shown you, and there are some other ones, Motion Array, I've used those a lot for templates for editing, and then ElevenLabs is here, but there are loads and loads. Everyone is doing it, but these two seem to be the highest tools of note that I want to show you and talk to you about, but there are many more, and I will update this lecture as more come along. If anyone takes over ElevenLabs as market leader, I will also do lectures on that. But if you're not interested in using ElevenLabs, I'm going to show you. So Artlist, I've shown you briefly some of this. Let me just show you some voiceover stuff here. Done the voiceover here. If I was to just paste in, I've just got an introduction here to Star Wars, and I could then choose exactly the same way all the different voiceover things. Let's generate this and let's see what it does. Just of note, I've got here 400 characters, basically one image, one character, so 160 showing right now. Let me show you this. That's for the free trial to check this out, and then you can subscribe. Let's listen to this in rural.
In a galaxy far, far away, an epic battle unfolds between light and dark, where rebels rise against an evil empire's relentless.
So that's doing like a rural, like country American guy, old guy speaking. It's actually really good. I really like their tone they're using it, and it's kind of very realistic. And you can go into the voice catalog, and there are loads and loads on here, and you can check this out. Let me just play one right here.
There's nothing quite like the thrill of combining handmade art with modern technology.
That would be a great one for an advert, wouldn't it? So the other one I want to show you is Filmora, Wondershare Filmora, which I use quite a bit and have suggested to you for editing, shown you earlier in this section. Let me just grab Filmora, and I want to show you some of that. So here inside the platform, I've got text right here, and I've got the exact same in a galaxy far, far away. Let's do text to speech, and they've got lots of different options on here also, and these are ever growing. I could just play some of this.
Wondershare Creativity Simplified.
Oh, that was fast, wasn't it? And then there are some other ones.
Wondershare Creativity Simplified.
Great, but my favorite one, and I've used this a lot right here. Let me show you for trailers. Here, movie trailer, adult deep.
Wondershare Creativity Simplified.
I think Filmora, this has the best version for this kind of voice that you want, this trailer, American trailer voice. Let me click generate, and it's just going to transcript this. It's very fast, really fast, and you can have a listen to it. I'll show you in real time. Actually, I won't skip forward. Already completed. That's done. Let's have a listen to this.
In a galaxy far, far away, an epic battle unfolds between light and dark, where rebels rise against an evil empire's relentless grip. Amidst the stars, unlikely heroes emerge, destined to shape the fate of worlds and awaken the power within.
Okay, so that's really good. That's probably of all tools, even ElevenLabs, that's one of my favorite voices, I think, for using for that style of video if you need it. Just to make you aware of the other tools that are available outside of ElevenLabs. Now, I'm going to move on to the next section. I'm going to create, we've been following along with my course project. If you've been following along with this, the video we're creating from scratch, start to finish, and then I'll send that to Festival. I'm going to then create both in 2 lectures. One, we're going to do the music and the score and the sound for this. And then I'm also going to do any narration that's needed, any narrator's voice or character voices. We're going to do that also in the next 2 lectures. Let's do that. Our project we've been working on throughout this course, all the way from beginning to end, was this. And so far we generated an idea for this, and then I generated a script. This is my Amy Under the Changing Sky working title. It'll probably be called something different, which is about two corresponding or overlapping stories with two young girls called Amy and Amy, one in Pearl Harbor, one in Japan, and how they are also the victims of war, losing their fathers simultaneously in the story, although they're obviously years apart. So that was our story, and this was a script that we generated in ChatGPT and also in some other tools that we use. Really good section actually about the idea generation. I really love Claude. You should go and check that out. And then it's got a list of shots here for me, which we'll be using in the next section. So what I want to do is create some music for this. In this lecture, I'm going to create the music, the scores for this. And then the one after that, I'm going to create some of the voiceover part. I've got a narrator and I've got a couple of lines by some characters. So I'll be doing that in these next two lectures. So first off, I'm going to use Suno and Udio side by side because I've got 50 free credits. That's probably 10, that is 10 song generations in Suno, and then Udio I've also got some free generations. I'm not actually signed up for any of these two. I've never needed to need that much music, so maybe the same for you guys. So I'm going to create instrumental music. Remember, we click this, and what I want is, and for scores, if we're going to store this along, I want more than enough music. This whole video is only going to be 2-3 minutes long, but I want 10 kind of 5 minimum songs of varying different kinds. So I'm going to first, I'm imagining my first scene right here when in the quiet hours of dawn, two young girls on opposite sides of the world begin their day. So it's a wide shot. They're in the rooms, but one is in the USA and one is in Japan. So my idea is to generate both a Western American style and one with Japanese influence and songs with both influence in here. So I want instrumental. I've already told it instrumental. I want a cinematic, emotional soundtrack for background music in a movie. Have a mix of USA, Western, and Japanese Asian influence. And let's see what this generates. While that's generating, I'm going to go over and I'm going to copy this almost entirely right here and put it in right here for this. I want it to auto-generate instrumental. Yes, let's go to some advanced creation tools here. Do I want it to be atmospheric is probably what I would like the most, or emotional music. I want it to be 32 seconds, pretty good. That's a quarter of this script, or maybe 1/6 of this script, so that's only a couple of credits. Let's generate that on here and let's go back to Suno and start listening. So Echoes Across the Horizon, actually a pretty good name for the title of this also. Let's play this and have a little listen. Okay, that is quite nice and it works, and it's kind of has enough emotional pull behind it. Let's listen to the other one. Well, I quite like this intro here. And I can imagine the young girls, they're both drawing in their homes. It does it up the tempo, which we could be using for when their fathers go off to work or are attacked. Okay, they sound really nice. Let's go over to Udio and let's listen to what their creations are. Also called it Crossing Horizons. This is quite good for the suspenseful section. When things are building up, or even after the attacks. Maybe it gets a little too fast there, but that first half was pretty good. I mean, for our story. But we could go in and we could be changing this, some advanced features right here. I could be changing the song structure and anything else like that. And also there's how fast you're going to generate this, which is pretty good on here, but I'm just a bit more of a fan of Suno. So let me do this again. I'm going to actually just do this and go cinematic background music inspired by Pearl Harbor. And let's see what actually comes back if I put in the actual event that we're talking about, and have a little listen here. Echoes in the harbor. Okay, let's have a listen. Alright, let's compare it to the second track it created. Okay, let's continue to do this, and I'm going to just create as many as I can. So cinematic background music inspired by Japanese themes. Let's just keep it, I'm just using, that doesn't make sense in English obviously, but I'm just giving it as much Japanese themes inspired background music. Let's create this. We know from the tutorial that Suno is automatically changing this behind the scenes to better match its own tools needed for generation anyway. So let's see what comes back if I ask it to be Japanese themed. We should be hearing something instrumental that reminds us of East Asia, and let's have a little listen. So Haiku of the Heart. Okay. Okay, somewhat getting there. We have those, I do quite like those high piano tones on this, but am I getting a real Asian feel for it? Not so much. I'm quite similar with this, so let me just add another. Okay, so cinematic background music, I'm going to say East Asian Oriental, let's say instruments. And let's see what that generates. I'm always going to do the same thing while we're here in video. Let's do that. Okay, let's go back over to Suno. Moonlit Dragon. Okay, so here I'm really getting a bit more of a feel for what we would think typically, perhaps stereotypically, and I want to make sure we don't go down that road. It's more of an East Asian Japanese theme. Let's listen to the next track. It almost sounds like a chilango type feel, doesn't it? String instrument, but or harp. They call it a harp playing, right? It's kind of guitar. I mean, I'm not a musician, but let's see what Udio has here. Whispers of the Orient. I'm not too sure about the first bit, but the horn type part that's coming in now is quite nice. Oh, this is all right, really nice. Let's finally, so I'm going to use my last 2 credits right here. Let's do, I want to just get calm background music for a scene intro, USA themed music. I'm going to give it that. That's all I'm going to give it. That, nothing else. I'm not telling it instrument, not telling it music style, nothing. I want to see what it generates. Now, of course, I'm going to use my last 2. Tomorrow, I'm going to get another 10 songs worth for free, or I could then be upgrading this. But I want just loads and loads of these tracks. I'm downloading them, change them, and I'm going to mix them together. I probably won't just have one track throughout. I might mix between these Western style music and Oriental style as the scenes change from one to the other, or perhaps a mishmash merge track that it comes up with. Like I might tomorrow when I come to generate this again, I'll ask it to make a track where it constantly changes between very Oriental sound in music to to Western and back again, and use those to dictate my scene changes perhaps, which is why it's important to do your music first, because it will dictate the visual images that I'm creating, of course. So let's listen to Across the Plains. Instrumental, calming, ambient. It is definitely that, because I put calm background music. It's almost like the music you get in the background of a massage parlor or something, right? In a spa. Definitely could see that for sure. So I'm going to download all 10 of those, and I'm going to start keeping myself a catalog of music. I'll definitely be using some of, if not all of those, and I'll be regenerating these every single day in exactly the same way with Suno and Udio until I have loads, and then I'm going to start putting stuff down on my timeline. Now, it doesn't mean I might not change this towards the end slightly or change this, but when we come to generate our images and when we lay it down on a timeline, I will already want some music down there so I can edit to the pace of the music for sure. But we can change that, everything. We can change everything. We can change images. We can change our whole script and story at any time. Just for best practice, I want to have this first. So that's me for the project, downloading and creating the music I want. Now in the script, I can see that I have some, now, and again, this may change the exact audio that I've got right here, as in what they're actually saying. If I even use a narrator at all, and there is a little line from the father right here in the story, I want to generate that with some voiceovers for this project. So let's do that in the next lecture. The last part of the course project I want to do as we follow along and go through this throughout this course step by step. We did the music with Suno and Udio in the last lecture. Now I'm going to generate some voice. So I have just some parts, and again, this might change and can evolve. And if I decide to change this, I will just go back and regenerate this. But I want something in my timeline now so I can see when I come to edit if it's working or not, and then I can change it. Until I put it in my edit and see it, I can't. So I want to just copy over. First, we're going to do the narrator. So inside ElevenLabs, first I'm going to do text to speech. Let's do that one, and let me just go back and forward and copy everything from my narrator. So I've copied everything over into here. This is everything on my script that was from the narrator. I've just put it into a section here. I'll need that, and you will if you follow along in a moment. So the first thing I want to do is think to myself, and perhaps you already have an idea, or perhaps you want to generate several. What kind of voice do I want here? I want American, male, gentle, but strong enough to hold a story and a narrator. So let's just go through. I already have some on here. Let me just play with some of these. Like, this is not going to work.
The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Okay, that's actually not as bad as I thought, and that's why sometimes playing with things is good. So let me do that again, and let me go Adam. He's a late night British radio host. I never thought of having a British accent with this. Let's see what this sounds like.
In the quiet hours of dawn, two young girls on opposite sides of the world begin their day like any other. Innocence, in the form of tiny hands.
So it has less emotion than perhaps I would like it to have. But we can fix that, of course, when I can do the speech to text, and I can do that. Let's keep Adam Stone. Let's keep his voice on a back burner. I hadn't thought about it, and perhaps it's slightly more bedtime story than it is narrating this. But let's have a listen. What if I do Carter the Mountain King again and generate the speech? This is going to be pretty intense, I think, perhaps too intense.
In the quiet hours of dawn, two young girls on opposite sides of the world begin their day like any other. Innocence in the form of tiny hands captures what they know.
It's a bit American, cheap movie. It sounds like, what do you call those in America? Hallmark movie kind of thing. Not so much the emotion I'm trying to convey here. So let's keep going. I've got a few more here. This one's almost like a presidential type.
Quiet hours of dawn, two young girls on opposite sides of the world begin their day like any other. Innocence in the...
Okay, not quite though.
In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes...
The eye sees only what the mind is prepared to comprehend.
The thing always happens that you really believe in, and the belief in a...
Life without love is like a tree without blossoms or...
As we are liberated from our own fear, our present...
Government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth.
Actually, perhaps I quite like a female voice for this. Let me choose Charlotte. Let me generate this speech and listen to this. This is why playing with it and going through all these different voices is
in the quiet hours of dawn. Two young girls on opposite sides of the world begin their day like any other. Innocence in the form of tiny hands captures what they know.
Yeah, maybe because it's a story about two young girls and I want it to be gentle and have as much impact. That's actually really, really good. Okay, I'm going to do this twice now. I'm going to use Charlotte. I'm going to have, this is text to speech. I'm just going to click download here and it's going to download that. And then I want Charlotte again, but I want voice changer. So instead, I'm going to record myself speaking this. That's why I put this down here. This is everything in the narrator. I've already got a British accent, so I don't have to fake an accent for this. But you can see me speak this. I'm just going to put this on my other screen. See me speak this, and then we can see how that came out. Okay, let's record the audio as I read this with a more human tone, obviously. In the quiet hours of dawn, two young girls on opposite sides of the world begin their day like any other. Innocence in the form of tiny hands captures what they know: family, peace, and love. But as dawn stretches across the ocean, something stirs, reaching towards each child from the farthest corners of the world. Under the changing sky, two hearts beat as one, connected by a silent understanding. Across vast oceans, beneath a sky forever changed, their spirits meet. Two children bound by a world yet they cannot comprehend, and a hope they unknowingly carry. So that was me recording. I had to do that last bit a few times on the speech. Let me grab that back over and just put this back up here. So I have done that, and this is my recording. Let's generate that in Charlotte's voice and see how that sounds.
In the quiet hours of dawn, two young girls on opposite sides of the world begin their day like any other. Innocence in the form of...
Okay, let me just change that. I'm going to go similarity and move the stability like here. Let me regenerate that and have another listen.
In the quiet hours of dawn, two young girls on opposite sides of the world begin their day like any other.
Okay, you can already see when I said that, like any other. That's a human expression that the AI voice just couldn't do. I'm going to exaggerate the star right here on it and move down the similarity. The style exaggeration, the style of Charlotte, similarity to my voice. Let me regenerate that.
In the quiet hours of dawn, two young girls on opposite sides of the world begin their day like any other. Innocence in the form of tiny hands captures what they know: family, peace, and love. But as dawn stretches across the ocean, something stirs, reaching towards each child.
I really like that. Where I'm doing speech to text, you just have those human nuances in the voice, the mannerisms slightly when you're speaking that just isn't quite captured with AI. Text to voice as opposed to text to speech as opposed to speech to speech. So I'm going to download that, and now I've stored both of those. Now, the only other thing that I had in here were two lines, one line each by their fathers. So I want to choose an American man's voice right here. And for that, I might actually, it's such a short line that perhaps text to speech might suffice, but it's completely up to you. You could also do this yourself again, speech to text. Let's do this. And now I actually want to try the presidential. Let's try that one and generate this.
Make the most of today, Amy. I'll see you this evening.
Yeah, that was very wooden because it's that presidential type speech. Okay, let's do Carter the Mountain King again.
Make the most of today, Amy. I'll see you this evening.
That would be a very deep voiced father. Let's do, I want to keep going.
Make the most of today, Amy. I'll see you this evening.
Yeah, that's quite a nice voice. Maybe that one, but I might do speech to text because they're just coming out so wooden. Let's have a listen to Brian.
The thing always happens that you really believe in, and the belief in a thing makes it happen. Make the most of today, Amy. I'll see you this evening.
Okay, that's nice. I like Brian, but I'm going to do a voice changer. So the line was, make the most of today, Amy. I'll see you this evening. Let's record audio. Make the most of today, Amy. I'll see you this evening. Now that may be too British for that. I may have to fake an accent here.
Make the most of today, Amy. I'll see you this evening.
I'm going to do style exaggeration, which is the style of that and the similarity to my voice lower.
Make the most of today, Amy. I'll see you this evening.
Oh, that's quite nice. I still sound a little bit British, so let me do this again. Okay, worst American accent coming up. Let's give this a try. Make the most of today, Amy. I'll see you this evening. That might do. Terrible. I'm so sorry, all the Americans listening. Let's generate speech.
Make the most of today, Amy. I'll see you this evening.
Yeah, so exactly that. So I want to copy that one. Let's download that. Now I've got these stored. Now the other one was, let me see here. Be good today, Amy. I'll be home before you know it. Now for this, I'm going to do text to speech. I'm going to do something a little bit different, I've decided, with the story. Let me do this and let me just go to Japanese and let me have a little listen.
最高の報酬は努力したことにスイスの観光地として人気の高い
I quite like that. Okay, Hinata. Back to text to speech. I want his name was Hinata. Let's have a listen. This will be first, it'll be trying to generate the English language with a Japanese accent. So I'm going to keep these actually as they are. Let's generate this.
Be good today, Ami. I'll be home before you know it.
So I've got a choice now. I can either keep it English and have it like that with an accent like they do in some movies. I can download to keep that. Or let me try this. So if I just translate with Google Translate, be good today, Amy. I'll be back before you know it. I could paste this in right here. Let's go back to this, go back to text to speech. Let's put that in here and let's generate speech in Japanese.
今日も元気でね、アミ。あなたが知らないうちに家に帰ります。
And I could do that and download that. Is it accurate? I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to ask someone who's Japanese, but it's going to be pretty good. Let me go to Dubbing Studio right here. And if I just create a new dub, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to call it Japanese dub one line. The language is English and the target language is Japanese. Now I'm going to put in, if I go to my downloads, there was the track.
Be good today, Ami. I'll be home before you know it.
There we go. I'm going to take that, which is in English. I'm going to drag it right here.
Be good today, Ami. I'll be home before you know it.
Okay, and let's create the dub. So now it's just completed. That didn't take very long at all. Let me click this and we can have a little play and listen to it. Source was English, go into Japanese. Let's have a listen.
今日はいい子にしてね、アミ。気づく前に帰るからね。
So that sounds a lot more authentic and a lot better. So let's download that. And now I have options. I quite like, and it's fun, isn't it? Because now it's coming to life. You're really starting to visualize your story. I would quite like that to come up in Japanese with the dub underneath it that says the line in text or in speech. So we have the real language used. There's only one line in it. Why not just do that in Japanese with one bit of text needed on screen? That would be amazing. So now I've downloaded all of these. What you want to do is start to organize this. So I'm just making a drive on my Google Drive right here. This is my AIVS course project. In here I have my script. Let's add ourselves a new folder. Let's call this audio. Let's create that. File management, very important. Inside here I'm going to put down all of my downloads. So here is everything that we've been creating, all of these in here. And once they're inside, I could label these much better. Like some of my complete voiceover narration, text to speech, some is speech to speech, some is the Japanese line. So if I was, for example, here, I could open this one, have a listen.
In the quiet hours of dawn, two young girls on opposite.
So that one is text to speech, not quite as good as the speech to speech. So I can go on and label these down. I could also download right now all of these songs that I want to have on here, the audio from this and the audio for this one. And I can put these in here too, or I could have separated them into voiceovers and music tracks. But as long as you're labeling and however you want to have these set out is completely up to you. But organize these, put these in here, because in the next task, I'm going to ask you to do this. You'll see the task for this project, and this is the best way to start organizing, because next we're going to start making some visuals in the next section. Very exciting. And you're going to want to put all these together in a place that you can find them easily for editing. So we've come to the end of that section. I really hope you enjoyed it. It's fascinating. It's the first time we're getting really creative in one of the three main elements of making AI video. So obviously I have a task for you here now at the end. To progress with your own project, please follow along. Take a look at this. So the objective is to create audio elements for your AI video project using the tools covered in this module. Obviously there's ElevenLabs, which I use predominantly, but also Suno, Udio, and any of the other stuff that you find, you can of course implement, and let me know what it is that you find useful. So instructions are, number one, please generate AI music. This is a score for your track. So use one of the music generation tools we discussed and create a track that complements your video project. Ensure the music fits the mood style of your visuals. Remember, this is about creating an emotion, so super important you get that right. Don't just generate one and think that's fine. Generate lots of them. Now, number two, create narration and dialogue. Your video might not have dialogue as such. It might have just narration. It might not have any narration. You might just have music. You might have done a music style video that just has lyrics. You might not need this at all. But if you are having it in your project, or please do some just to familiarize yourself, make sure you do text to speech and compare that directly with speech to speech using your own mannerisms and changing the voice on that, just like you saw me do. And keep these, save them and prepare. Ensure both your AI generated music and narration are ready for integration into your video project. You're starting to store stuff up now, your scripts, your ideas, your AI audio now. Next, we're going to start storing together our mood boards and things as we start getting this together. So you'll have by the end of this, the background and narration, or even the audio for your characters if you need this ready to start putting them in place. So let's go and work out what our videos are going to look like in the next couple of sections.